I read you. Reporting for duty. I read you. Orders, Captain? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. SCV good to go, sir.
Not
Orders,
enough
Captain?
minerals.
Reporting for duty. Yes, sir. Reporting for duty.
I mean, semiconductors are at the heart of a $91 trillion world economy. And all regions of the world,
SCV
China,
good to go,
Europe,
sir.
want to make sure that they have the
Reporting for duty.
capability.
Orders, Captain? Can I read you? Yes, sir. Can I read you? SCV good to go, sir. Orders, Captain? Affirmative. Roger that. Orders received.
Not enough minerals.
SCV good to go,
Not
sir.
enough minerals. Not enough minerals. Not enough minerals.
Build semiconductors. The U.S. now is adjusting.
Reporting for duty. Can I read you? Orders, Captain? SCV good to go, sir. Affirmative. Orders, Captain? Reporting for duty. Job finished. Right away, sir.
Your forces are under attack.
CV good to go, sir.
Industrial
Right
policy
away, sir.
so that,
Roger that. Orders received.
that they can make the investments other regions of the world have made in partnership with business to create more manufacturing in the U.S.
Now, we're all waiting, last quick question, Tom, for Global Foundries to go public. Wouldn't now be a good time when there's all this surge in demand? Are you accelerating your timeline? Could we see it this year?
SCV good
I think
to
for
go,
us,
sir.
it's always been about going to the public markets when we hit certain financial and performance targets for our business to make sure we capture the true value of this enterprise. And that discussion's always been sometime in 2022. We always view our strategic alternatives, but for us right now, we are laser focused on continuing to get as much out of the capacity we have on the ground now and investing as fast as we can to increase this capacity so that we can help do our part in getting this supply-demand better aligned.
Job finished. Reporting for duty.
All right. Global Foundries CEO Thomas Caulfield, we will be following through the year and into the next and your path to IPO. Thanks so much for joining us. And that does it for this edition of Bloomberg Technology Chip Crush. We're going to continue to cover the chip crisis as it unfolds. We'll be watching that summit at the White House next week.
Can I read you? Affirmative. SCV good to go, sir. Can I read you?
Emily Chang, this is Bloomberg.
Orders, Captain? Affirmative.
You want a piece of me, boy? Jacked up and good to
I
go.
read you. Finished. Reporting for duty. Right away, sir. Orders received.
Standing by.
Yes, sir.
Our generation's biggest problem
Climate change is happening.
and the world's most innovative solutions.
Transport, industry, buildings, electricity, all of those things.
Everything you need to know about our changing environment, the politics of global warming,
We can and we will deal with climate change.
and the fight against climate change. Bloomberg Green has you covered.
Good to go, sir.
You want a piece of me,
Orders,
boy?
Captain? Orders received.
Standing by. Outstanding.
I read you. Orders received. Reporting for duty.
Piece of me,
Orders
boy.
received. Job finished. SCV good to go, sir. Orders, Captain? Reporting for duty. Right away, sir. Yes, sir. Job SCV good to go, sir. Can I read you? Reporting for duty. Orders, Captain? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Roger that.
You want a piece of me, boy?
SCV good to go, sir. Orders received. Reporting for duty.
Valuations, particularly, sort of the technology landscape, have gotten to some pretty
Not enough
extraordinary levels. So I think it's not a surprise. I don't think it's any indication of the beginning of the end, but I do think markets don't like uncertainty.
Not enough minerals.
Our generation's biggest problem.
Climate change is happening.
And the world's most innovative solution.
Transport, industry, buildings, electricity, all of those things.
Everything you need to know about our changing environment, politics of global warming,
We can and we will deal with climate change.
and the fight against climate change, Bloomberg Green has you covered.
It's really a reminder, isn't it, just how sensitive the markets are to any commentary about trade. We did see some pressure on the yuan, we did see some pressure on the futures. That is now being reversed.
Up, and away as the economy starts to come back, bringing jobs with it, and the U.S. sets new records in COVID vaccines. What's not to like? This is Bloomberg Wall Street Week. I'm David Weston. This week, contributors Larry Summers of Harvard.
I'd have liked to see a bolder, bigger vision on infrastructure.
And Afsani Beshlos of Rock Creek. Howard Marks of Oak Tree Capital. Josh Bolton of the Business Roundtable.
We're against the increases in corporate taxes, strongly against it.
Marty Chavez of 6th Street Partners.
It's a matter of urgency for the U.S. dollar to digitize.
And Mona Mahajan of Allianz Global Investors. There wasn't a lot for investors to find fault with this week. More economic numbers pointed to a rapidly approaching recovery.
It's actual progress, it's not projected progress. It's hard numbers on the labor market and on prices.
The U.S. stepped up its already brisk pace of vaccinations, even as infections picked up in the Northeast. And California set June 15 as the goal for its fully reopening its economy. But wait, there's more. As President Biden presses forward with plans to invest another $2.25 trillion in the American economy for what he calls infrastructure, and critics say goes well beyond infrastructure alone.
The problem with this infrastructure package, though, David, is that it's only it's less than 25% of it goes to infrastructure.
But whatever you call it, the president says we need to raise taxes on corporations to pay for it all.
President Biden's proposals announced last week call for bold domestic action, including to raise the U.S. minimum tax rate.
Overall, markets kept their optimistic outlook, with the S&P staying in record territory over 4,000, and the 10-year yield resumed its upward march after a jump in producer price data added fuel to inflation concerns. So, in an investment world where so much seems to be going so right, what do you do if you're looking for some distress somewhere? And that's the question we put to acclaimed distressed investor and author Howard Marks of Oak Tree Capital Management.
One answer is that we're active providing solutions to companies that want to recapitalize their balance sheet, change their